16, who had been packed off to Amerika by his parents because a servant girl had seduced him and gotten herself a child by him, stood on the liner, slowly entering the harbour of New York. A sudden burst of sunlight seemed to illuminate the Statue of Liberty, so that he saw it in a new light, although he had sighted it long before. The arm with the sword rose up as if newly stretched aloft, and round the figure blew the free winds of heaven.
Good evening, class.
Good evening, Mr. Hall!
How do you do?
How do you do?
How do you do?
How do you do? How do you do? I am fine and dandy.
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 Is this your lovely lady wife?
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 First class ticket to Saratoga Springs, please.
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 First class ticket to Saratoga Springs, please. Give my regards.
Give my regards
Give my regards
to Broadway.
to Broadway.
To Broadway.
To Broadway.
Give my regards to Broadway.
Give my regards to Broadway.
Good evening, class.
Good evening, Mr. Hall!
Right this way, boy. Now, the house isn't quite completed, but...
How large and tall your house is, sir.
Why, thank you. Now, according to my watch, I believe that dinner is just about... served.
Dinner in America 1. Introductions, general well-being, grace.
Oh, the Lord is good to me, and so I thank the Lord for giving me the things I need, the sun and the rain and the apple seed. The Lord is good to me. Amen. She reminds me of a picture I once knew.
I'm delighted to make your acquaintance.
Marvelous hat.
The face, the face.
You must be Mr. Jacob.
Are you Miss Clara?
Henry used to cook like this.
In the beginning.
What remarkably red lips you have, Miss Clara.
Well, she's been on more laps than a napkin.
I've never seen so many stains.
Did you see the dress she was wearing?
I broke my leg once. It was the most wonderful experience of my life.
I was always stupid compared to my schoolmates, but never the stupidest.
A cage, once in search of a bird.
I imagine a map of the world. And you? Spread out diagonally across it.
I once dreamt I was a beetle.
My mother died when I was 5 years old. It was winter in New York.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Radio America, broadcasting from Ramesses, New York on frequency 77, and brought to you by Edward Jacob Enterprises, Inc. I'm Nancy Polanski, bringing you news and views. For tonight's studio guest, we have noted socioeconomic theorist, Professor Louis Baker of Clayton University.
Hi, Nancy.
And we will be discussing the recent tragic death of an immigrant mother on the streets of New York City.
Drunk men wandered about the place, dolefully singing. We wandered through corridors of tenements, randomly knocking at every door, begging people for help. Sometimes the caretaker would not even let us inside the doorway. mother was dead tired. She coughed up a great deal of blood in the street that morning. Her only wish was to get into some place where she could rest and be warm. She sat down on a step on a quiet stairway. She drew me close to her breast and kissed me. If only I'd known those were her last kisses. The next morning, walking through waking streets, we finally arrived at the building where my mother had been promised work. She reached the top of the wall, skillfully skirting around all the bricklayers, who paid no attention but went on stolidly, setting brick after brick. And then she stopped. Her skill deserted her. She knocked down the bricks and fell sheer over them. She lay there. And then people came running, and a man shouted down angrily from above.
What is your immediate reaction to tonight's tragic story?
Well, yes, indeed, Nancy. It is a terrible tragedy. My first thoughts were with the 5-year-old daughter, and for Teresa's mother in the middle of a blizzard at Christmas. You know, there just was no more room at the inn.
So, can we have a few final thoughts for our Radio America listeners?
Yes, I'd like to say right now, Nancy, to the American people that the heart of this problem is Senator Edward Jacob and capitalist pigs like him that turn this place into a place where you see
I'm sorry,
dead corpses on the street.
say that.
Nancy, no, I'm talking serious things here.
We're running out of time here. Yeah, we're running out of time. We're running out of time here. I'm just going to have to sign. Right, I'm going to say thank you very much to Professor Baker of Clayton University. This is Nancy Polanski signing off from Radio America with a word from our sponsor.
Morning parade, falling, single file. You. Single file. You. Back straight. Shoulders back. Chin up. Head to the right. Left practice. At the double. Open all, leave cases about face, rope cases about face, push button, stand back, small big. Open all, leave cases, step forward, rope cases, away, keep. Now, lift practice, repeat after me. Open all.
Open door!
Leave cases.
Leave cases!
About face.
About face!
Rope cases.
Drop cases!
About face.
About face!
Push button.
Push button!
Stand back.
Stand back!
Application, ingenuity.
Endurance! Mental agility!
Dexterity!
Advance in high places!
Cyrus, newly appointed elevator boy.
Also accidental.
Begins his long climb.
Of corporate success.
And now Al Rossman is going to demonstrate a day in the life of a lift boy at the Hotel Occidental. Rule number 1. Always be prepared for any complaints.
Hello, sir. How are you today?
First thing, wipe that happy-go-lucky smile off your face.
Yes, sir.
Which floor, please?
Don't breathe on my ear. 30 seconds.
Oh, that's the presidential suite, sir.
I wouldn't call it very presidential. You know, none of the soaps match any of the carpets.
Sir, that's terrible. Well, I'll get right on it, sir.
Yeah, sure you will. Open the door, kid.
Yes, sir.
Don't ask for a tip because you're not going to get one.
Have a nice day, sir.
When I meet a pretty girl and beg her, be so good as to come with me, and she goes past without a word, this is what she means to say. You are no duke with a famous name, no broad American with a red Indian figure, level, brooding eyes and a skin tempered by the air of the prairies and the rivers that run through them. You have never journeyed to the 7 seas.
And voyaged over. Wherever they may be. I don't know where.
Tak důvěrný ten Chopin je.
So why, pray,
Že jich o duši přiláká zpět na zemi malý kroužek přátel.
go with you?
Co neohmataj ten květ.
You forget.
Její duševní stíní
No
otvírá a
automobile swings
zkoumá
you through the
celý.
streets in long thrusts. I see no gentleman escorting you in a close half circle, murmuring blessings on your head and pressing on your skirts from behind.
A křehké tóny hously.
Your breasts are well laced into your bodice.
A ona začíná.
Your hips and thighs make up for that.
Co pro mě znamenají moji přátelé?
You
To nevím.
are wearing a taffeta dress with a pleated skirt, such as delighted us all last autumn. And yet you
Co pro mě
smile,
znamenají moji přátelé? To nevím.
inviting danger. Yes, we're both in the right. And to keep us from being irrevocably aware of it, hadn't we better go our separate ways home?
De la marche? How can I sleep with this infernal noise? What is that?
No need to be alarmed, my precious. It's the German I told you about, the boy who's come to attend on us.
De la marche? Not another one, but he looks like a little anorexic rat. I don't want him, I don't like him, take him back. Ci darim la mano. I changed my mind. Bring him nearer, you never know. Let me touch, let me touch. Ta-ta-ta-ta. Oh, he clings.
Oh, thank you for letting me stay for a little longer. I've been very tired. I haven't slept in 24 hours and I've done a lot of things and been rather upset.
But he's charming. He's charming. Well, I suppose he can stay. See. He can rest over there, out of my sight for a little while at least. Oh, ci darem la mano, la mi dirai this. De la marche. Look at the little rat. He's staring at me with his beady little eyes. I can't stand it. No. If I die, it will be his fault. Anorexia? Listen up. You see, first, we must have an inventory
Of everything we own.
Now that should be easier, an educated boy.
Yes, it must be neat, precise, with no mistakes. Don Giovanni. And, of course, the apartment will have to be cleaned from top to bottom. Oh, it's filthy, especially the curtains.
And then you can set about rearranging all the furniture.
Oh, see. In fact, you can move that mirror to that wall. You see, I look much better in the light. And all my clothes will have to be arranged by color, you see, so that when I want something red...
Red is her favorite color.
What? When I want something red, I can find it without having to tear the whole apartment up. Are you listening?
Rosamond.
Let go of me! Call the police! Officer, they've taken my mother and they've taken my mother and put her in a salami with
No. He's overexcited. If anyone is going to be taken to the police, it's going to be you, my little runaway thief. Now lock him out on the balcony until he cools down.
De la marche! Traitor! Bastardo! Castrato! Fammi un massaggio qui! Musica delle mie orecchie.
The great Nature Theater of Oklahoma welcomes you.
The Great Nature Theater of Oklahoma welcomes you! Everyone is welcome. If you think of your future, you're one of us.
But hurry, the doors close at 12 midnight.
The doors open today, and then they will never open ever again.
Down with those who do not believe in us.
Hey, you! Where have you been? We've been waiting for you. Congratulations, you're engaged.
I don't have a ticket.
No ticket, no problem.
For 2 days and 2 nights, they journeyed on. Only now did Carl understand how huge America was. Masses of blue-black rock rose in sheer wedges to the railway line. Even craning one's neck out of the window, one could not see their summits. Narrow, gloomy, jagged valleys opened out, and one tried to follow with a pointing finger the direction in which they lost themselves. Broad mountain streams appeared and rolled in great waves down onto the foothills, drawing with them 1,000 foaming wavelets, plunging underneath the bridges over which the train rushed. And they were so near that the breath of coldness rising from them chilled the skin of their faces.